All that I love, I fold over once, and once again, and keep it in a box. Or a slit in a hollow post, or in my shoe. All that I love? Why, yes, but for the moment, and for all time, both. Something that folds and keeps easy. Son's note or a dad's one gaudy tie. A royal picture of a queen. A blue Indian shawl, even in Mandarin. This is a poem written by Edith L Tiempo, a national artist in the Philippines for literature. Edith L Tiempo, a poet, fictionist, teacher, and literary critic, is one of the finest Filipino writers in English whose works are characterized by a remarkable fusion of style and substance, of craftsmanship and insight. She was born on April 22, 1919, in Bayumbong, Nueva Vizcaya. Her poems are intricate verbal transfigurations of significant experiences as revealed in two of her much anthologized pieces, namely The Little Marmoset and Bonsai. As fictionist, Tiempo is as morally profound. She is an influential tradition in Philippine literature in English. Together with her late husband, Mr. Edilberto K. Tiempo, she founded and directed the Philippine National Writers Workshop in Dumaguete City, which has produced some of the country's best writers. Filipino literary scholars recognize the Tiempos as the forerunners of literary criticism and theory in the Philippines.
That's what it means to be a writer. Being teacher, wife, and mother all at once. Being a writer covers the three functions and even more. Poetry, because it's open to interpretation, personal interpretation, as well as interpretation as others may see it. In fiction and in criticism, one is bound by certain rules, whereas in poetry, it's open to interpretation. One can never be sure about that, because what may actually happen is it's more than what you expect. That is why poetry is the best expression, because it's more than what anybody would expect. When I say a poem is proper, I am not referring only to the craft of it. I am referring to art itself. Is there art in it? And what I mean by art is substance as well as craft. They should be there together. Otherwise, there is no poetic art. The writing now has not been random. but follows now certain rules of poetry. For example, do not tell the meaning of a poem. Let the poem reveal the meaning. I can think of at least two things. Unusual subject matter that has not changed. Paradox that has not changed. Because these are most catching and interesting to the reader. If it is just any ordinary, who will read the poem? It has got to be something unusual about it so that the reader will be inclined to read it, to read the poem. Paradox, either way, it can come most naturally in the course of the writing, and it can also be built up into a paradox so that the reader will not be lost. You always have the reader. Every poet, for his salt, has to have even an inkling of paradox. Otherwise, you see, in any poem, the reader looks for something interesting and unusual, and more so if it happens to be a paradox. Then the reader will go on and say, "Ha! Why? Why a paradox?" It has taken on more care because no longer the Philippine writers, Philippine poets, just write according to how they think and feel at the moment. They have to think about the art of it. Otherwise, they have no business trying to be poets. I can only say about my 91 years, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for all that it has given me. Whether something to hurt, or whether it's something to teach, or whether it's something to share. Thank you, good Father God, for the 91 years that I do have now.